Hello Doctor Who fans, I'm back from my holiday and I'm bringing a new, bigger, extended version for the comeback after being away for a fortnight. As you may know, since I've done this channel, I have actually not been away from it for a long period of time. So, sorry for that, but I'm back now with another video. And now I should be doing a video of every 5-inch Cyberman figure. Now this shall not include Doctor Who character building or the 3 3/4 inch range or any other, solely 5-inch. It's the most popular plus the biggest variety of actual figures made. And I shall be doing it in order of actual Cyberman appearances rather than actual general release dates, because I think this will be much easier for everybody to do it in this order, because then at least you can find the one you're referring to rather than look at the years it was released, this, that and the other. And so, as you can see here, I'll be starting off with the 10 Planet Cybermen. And obviously, as you can see here, I got 3. And overall, there's been 3 different releases of the 10 Planet Cybermen. And here's the last one here. So we had the original release, which was a part of the collect and build, as you can see at the top, Cyber Controller with the Cyber Head. That was part of this set, and as you can see here at the back, it was released in the Age of Steel set. It was released as well, because of the actual box and everything, it would be quite obscure. So I got because it was on sale quite a few times, I bought 2 or 3 of these. I can't remember exactly how many. But this one here in the middle was actually from the Enemies of the First Doctor set, which came with Dalek with Flamethrower and a Roboman. Basically, the Age of Steel Cyberman and the Collect and Build Cyberman, which is this version here as well, are pretty much exactly the same. But as you can see here, I'm not sure if you'll see much on my camera, but this was the Enemies of the First Doctor set Cyberman. As you can see, the face is actually different, well, technically a face cover, so a different shade. And as you can see, the hands are a bit more darker on this one than it is on this one here. So there are slight differences. Basically what I did was I tried to get hold of every Cyberman release ever. So no matter how small the difference is, I just wanted to get all the Cybermen. And so basically this year I actually managed to complete that whole range. So I do have every variant and type of Cyberman ever made. So basically there's been 3 releases of the 10 Planet Cyberman, but only 2 variants. The Age of Steel set and the Collect and Build Cybermen are exactly the same. There is a variant with this one. I mean, if you can think of any variants of the actual 10 Planet Cyberman from the Age of Steel set and the actual Collect and Build set figure here, then please comment below. I would actually like to know, because I've struggled to find any differences at all. But all I know is there's 2 variants with the 10 Planet Cyberman. Okay, and next we had the 2 Mother Cybermen. And as you can see here, there's been quite a few releases of them. Just so you know, this is every version of it, so I'm not doing this Cyberman by Cyberman. So this is the range that was from the 2 Mother Cybermen. As you can see here, the Age of Steel set has the 2 Cybermen. We have the Collect and Build, which is the original release of the 2 Cybermen. We have a second release, which was this one here, and a black and white version. And we also have 2 versions of the Cyber Controller. The Collect and Build version, as you can see here, and also this year, 2017 release, right at the back there. That only came out only a few months ago. So as you can see, there's quite a few variants. Personally, I've not been able to find many different variants between the actual Cybermen releases, because obviously they all look pretty similar. But here and there are quite a few differences. This is the Collect and Build Cyberman here. As you can see here, it's got quite darkish coloured eyes. Whoops. So it's got basically quite coloured darkish eyes. Now as you can see here on the right, this is from the second release, from the second Doctor and Cyberman set. As you can see here, the eyes are actually much lighter on this one and a bit darker on this one. Plus, the plastic is also a lot better on this one. It's a lot more firm. But as you can see here, it's quite not necessarily the best material in the world, but therefore I suppose it was a first release. And so basically, this one is better kind of make and model and everything. Obviously, they use better plastic. Basically, This one here is also pretty much the same as the newer release. I think I'm not entirely sure because this has never been unboxed, as a lot of my items. I do tend to collect the odd double here and there to take out the packaging. There's only ever been one release of the black and white, that is solely that. So if you watch Tomb of the Cybermen, then you'll be able to see they did try to get it more or less the same. The head is pretty much silver, so is the chest. But as you can see here, they've done like a slight light, kind of very light grey or an off-white for the actual material of the Cyberman. So there are quite a few slight differences between Cybermen, but not necessarily that many. But I'm not sure if you'll be able to see or not on the camera. The two Cybermen here obviously have like a slight grey kind of chest here. But if you look on the Age of Steel set here, it's all silver. So even though it's not much of a difference, it is actually a variant. So even though this doesn't look much, there's technically there are actually 4 variants of the Tomb Cyberman. We have the black and white version here, the second Doctrine Cyberman set, the original release, and the Cyberman figure set, the Age of Steel set version. So even though there's not much, if you look carefully, there are slight differences. I suppose if you want to get one of each type of Cyberman, then any will do. But if you want to collect every variant, then I technically recommend that you get them all. So if I move these out of the way, I'm not sure you'll be able to see at the back. I did do this review not long ago, so I won't spend too much time on it. But as you can see here, we've got the new version of the Cyber Controller. As you can see, it's quite a dark grey head. But this is the original version, so you have to collect all 4 parts of the Collecting Cyberman range to actually get this Cyberman. But as you can see here, there is no silver rim, as seen on the one in the background. It has a lot lighter grey shade of colour. I'm not sure about the kind of silver they used, but other than that, it's pretty much the head that is actually the only difference between this release and this year's release. But apart from that, it's good for collectors who didn't get it the first time around, because to collect the 4 is quite difficult nowadays. But other than that, there is 6 versions of the Tomb Cybermen. 4 Cybermen, 2 Cyber Controllers now. Only slight differences, but the hard to find one is probably the Collect and Build Cyber Controller Complete, the original version, and the black and white. But other than that, the others you can still quite get hold of, but those 2 are the rarest. Now, no, maybe repeating myself, but again, we had the Age of Steel set again. This came with the first 3 Cybermen, as you can see, quite a while ago. Can't remember the exact year. We had the monster set that came out last year, 2016, and here we had the original release of the Invasion Cyberman, which I assume, if my memory is correct, I think it was 2010. It was a very good range. As you can see here, it has the 2 legs of the Cyber Controller, which includes the Collect and Build Cyber Controller part. There are slight differences between these Cybermen. I'll try and show you the differences as much as possible. Basically, as you can see here, right at the back, the chest unit here is painted black. It's not actually like a kind of glass kind of colour, it's actually painted black. But as you can see on these 2 versions here, it's actually see-through. So obviously it's only, again, a tiny difference, but a difference of that. Another variant is that this here is a kind of dark kind of plastic colour. I'll say a very dark grey. And as you can see here on this version here, it is clear. And that is the same with this Cyberman here. It is clear. So basically, even though, again, they look pretty similar, they're actually all 3 are actually different if you want to be very specific with the Cybermen that you actually want. Again, only slight differences. This Cyberman was actually the only one that actually came with the Cyberman gun, as seen in the Invasion. The latter releases did not. So I'm not entirely sure why, but again, if you wanted the Cybergun version, this is the only version that came with it. The other 2 unfortunately didn't, as far as I know. Well, as you can see here. The handlebars, as you can see, do tend to vary quite a bit. If I can twist it around, sorry about the sun glare. But as you can see, they're a bit wider on here than they are on these two versions, but those ones seem to be smaller than this version. So the handlebars do tend to vary. Other than that, they are pretty similar. The paint, I think, is slightly different on the newest release. I think it's a slightly shiny silver paint. But other than that, they're exactly the same. But again, if you want to collect every Cyberman, then they are all different. There aren't that many different versions of it. These are actually the only 3. The Toon Cyberman one being released the most. But other than that, that's all the slight versions of the Invasion Cyberman 3. 3 different sets and 3 different versions. Here we had the Revengeance Cyberman set. We are finally in the 70s after going through the black and white era. Now, as you can see here, this is one of my favourite sets. It comes with the 2 Cybermen and the Cyber Leader, and as you can just see here, the Cybermat. Now, the only main difference is obviously the Cyber Leader has the black handlebars. It is one of my favourite sets. It is actually very accurate. One of my favourite kind of Cybermen. I was hoping they would actually appear in the series finale of the series that just went, or series 10, but I suppose we're probably asking for a bit too much. And as you can see here, you can see the original price was $29.99. That I got quite a long time ago. Obviously, this is the only release of the Revenge Cybermen overall. So as you can see, we've got 2 normal Cybermen. I think only 3 or 4 were actually ever seen at one time, because I don't think they had that many costumes. And obviously, we've got the Cyber Leader variant. The bodies are all exactly the same. There's no differences. And obviously from the angle that does look like it from here, but other than that, it is pretty much the same. There's literally no differences other than the black handlebars and the Cyberman. As you can see in the back, we do have a bit of information. Set includes Cyber Leader, 2 Cybermen, and a Cybermat. This was the kind of Tenet era kind of packaging, that the orangey golden flame kind of packaging. Unfortunately, it does get a bit confusing as I go along with the classic figures. But other than that, it showed a bit of information on the background, and obviously it came with 3 figures. No other release of the Revengeance Cybermen were actually made, but I recommend that you get this set, Cyberman Collector or not. It's actually a very good set because it comes with the amount of Cybermen it does. Our next Cyberman is probably one of the most sought after classic Cybermen, is the Earthshock Cyberman. This was released in the Wave 2 of the classic figures, where they were pretty much in supermarkets, as you probably remember. But unfortunately, times aren't like that now, unfortunately. But as you can see here, we had the Earthshock Cyberman with Cyber Gun. It is pretty accurate. This was only ever released in this wave, as you can see here from the back. Ice Warrior, Vok Robot, Mummy, Morbius, Master, and Earthshock Cyberman. It is pretty much quite hard to get hold of. I mean, on the internet, they tend to range for about £25 to £35. I'm not entirely sure why it worth so much, but therefore it's one of the probably best classic Cyberman stories of all time, especially the 80s. Obviously, it's one of the most favourable. The gun does fit quite well. And as you can see here, the attention to detail is actually very good with all the marks. You probably wouldn't believe it. They actually used ski boots for the actual Cybermen costumes when they did Earthshock in the 80s. Obviously, low budget and all that. But overall, it's actually quite a nice Cyberman. It's one of my favourites. Quite hard to get hold of, and it was part of the Wave 2 classic figures. Obviously, they've got quite good detail and a much better quality than some of the other earlier Cyberman figures that they did. Now here we had the Attack Cybermen. Now as you can see, the packaging difference is pretty much completely different in every way, shape or form. Literally every shape and form, funny enough, as well. And basically we had the Rogue Cyberman scene where it burst out of the prison cell on Telos, and obviously went rogue. Obviously, if you've seen Attack of Cybermen, you'll remember that scene. If not, I recommend you watch it. It's definitely an interesting story. And obviously here on the left, we actually had the normal Attack Cyberman. Now, some of you may not have seen that it might look exactly like an Earthshock Cyberman, but if I put the Earthshock Cyberman next to it, look at the boots. As you can see here, they're more sort of rounded and silver, whilst here they're a lot more thinner, a bit like shoes or wellies. So as you can see, they're pretty much not exactly the same. Plus, if you look at the head, it does look a lot thinner, doesn't it? As well as the eyes are actually black, whilst obviously here they're silver. So overall, it's actually different. Plus, as you probably could tell, the gun here is actually gold, not actually silver. And obviously, that was one slight version of it. And the attack Cyberman here comes with the removable faceplate. On this Cyberman it's actually fixed because this is supposed to be a normal Cyberman. Obviously you can see all the green like rogueness from like all the dustiness from being an old Cyberman, all that. And as you can see here, we actually have another one that's actually one of my favourite Cybermen. The stealth black Cyberman, also seen in Attack of Cybermen. So 3 completely different versions of packaging and 3 different versions of Cybermen. As you can see here, it is unfortunately slightly incorrect. I'm not sure if you'll be able to see, but they've got the more bolder boots. Actually, this angle will probably be better for you. There we go. See, they're a lot more bigger and rounder. They're the Earthshock Cybermen. This is basically a black version of the Earthshock Cybermen, whilst this one is actually the correct version. So, as you can see here, there's 3 versions of the Cyberman from Attack of Cybermen. The Black Stealth Cyberman, which is one of my favourites. I'll give you a closer detail of why. Because of the actual detail, plus it's more unusual, and this is only the second one ever made. The other one was made by Product Enterprise a few years ago, who unfortunately are now out of business. As you can see here, it does come with a more coppery bronze colour, which I think was correct. I can't remember those exact details. The guns are pretty much the same on these 2, whilst obviously this one's completely different. But overall, I reckon this set is pretty much still quite easy to get hold of. And plus it comes with a 6 Doctor as well. So if you want to do an Attacker's Cybermen kind of diorama, then at least you've got the Cybermen for it. Obviously it's quite a good variety of Cybermen. Again, they're all different. There's no other releases of it. It's amazing they've actually done this many attack Cybermen, but yet not an Earthshock Cyber Leader. You think they would have done, considering all you need to do was pretty much paint the handles black. But overall, very good figures, and all three different variants. Again, sorry for the sun glare, but we are down to our last classic Cybermen set. And as you can see here, it is the Silver Nemesis set with the Cyberman and the Cyber Leader. And again, this is also an argument for why I think they should have done a Earthshock Cyber Leader, because they did a Cyber Leader in this set. So it's a bit bizarre why they haven't. But apart from that, as you can see, the detail is completely different from the Earthshock Attack Cybermen designs. The gloves are a lot more thicker. The shoes, for some reason, are actually triangular. That I don't know why. But obviously it's supposed to be screen accurate. As you can see here, there's no black square in the middle of the chest. The cyber guns are completely different that to seen in Earthshock and Attack of the Cybermen. The design is pretty much completely different. Well, not necessarily completely different, you can still make out as a Cyberman. But other than that, these Cybermen are actually the same, apart from the black handlebars, whilst this one is actually the standard Cyber Lieutenant, technically. And you can see on the back it has quite a bit of information, plus an iconic photo from Silver Nemesis, and information about it, and saying it's from 1988. And it's actually one of my favourite sets because it comes, again, with 2 Cybermen. And I'm very keen on multiple sets that come with like more than one thing, especially like this. Obviously this comes back to the kind of clamshell kind of packaging. Reason it's called that, because obviously the shape. But it is, again, one of my favourite sets. The detail is very good, as you can see here. And a lot of you probably have wondered why the gloves, such as on here, that aren't actually shown, but are actually shown on here, were actually cricket gloves. That's why they had the unusual, like, one less finger, because it was actually a cricket glove used. Bizarre, but I think it actually kind of works in a very strange sort of way. But other than that, as you can see, the eyes are actually silver, but here they're actually black. You think they've actually would have put sorted that out, that they would have actually put them black, not silver. It's, but that's just attention to detail. But other than that, as you can see with the codes of detail, it's you can see why it's a demanded set because of the actual detail and all the marks and everything. It is really a good set. I do recommend it. This was one of the last twin sets that came out in this style packaging, so that's probably why it makes it such a demanded set. They tend to go for about £50 on eBay, so get your hands on it whilst you still can. Now, unfortunately, I shall actually have to leave it there because of the size this video will be. I'll be doing part 1 for the classic Cybermen figures that you've just seen, and then part 2, which I shall do next week, will be the new post-2006 Cybermen. As you probably noticed, there's quite a few Cybermen around. So I hope you join me for that, and I hope you like this video. If you have any information that I've not mentioned, then please comment below. And also, if you've got any questions, then don't be afraid to ask. I will not exterminate you, or in this case, I shall not delete you. Keep following the Who page on Facebook, Twitter, G+, and YouTube. And thank you very much, and goodbye.